Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. My name is Chris, and today we're going to talk about the new cards that have released for today. Sorry about the video quality on these Twitter ones. Mobalytics is messing up for me a bit right now, so I'll see if I can, sort of figure it out by the end of this and maybe go to a different screen to fully talk about the cards, but let's just quickly look at them first. So let's, we are on the first one, right? Yeah, it looks like it. So it looks like we're in Noxus here. Oh, there's some music as well. So we have Retired Reckoner, which is a 5-mana 2/6. When you target me, grant me 1 attack. So 5-mana 2/6, good stat line, good health. I'm pretty sure that, again, this seems like kind of a Riven type card. There seems to be a lot of Riven cards like kind of coming to the fray. When you target me, grant me 1 attack. So let's think. You come down on turn 5. Let's say you've got, I don't know, 1 spell to target with. You get a 5-mana 3/6. It's like not great for an overwhelm. Like what level would you have to get this to where it'd be, pretty good? Probably around like 6, right? So that's like 4 different spells. Of course, the spells that you target it with will, sometimes give it overwhelm, but it feels a little slow. I could be wrong, but to me that feels just like a tad too slow. Like if it just had like 3 attack, then I would maybe see, this could make more sense. But 2 seems just a tad low. It just seems too low, because if you don't have a spell to target it straight away, then you are kind of, screwed. You got a 5-mana 2/6, like, come on. So yeah, it just feels a little too slow to make sense. Retired Reckoner. Although the artwork's pretty cool, and all of a sudden the quality of the images got better for me as well. So we have Ruined Reckoner here, which is a 4-mana 4/3. When I'm summoned, create a Midnight Raid in hand. Let's find out what a Midnight Raid is. Midnight Raid. An ally starts a free attack. Slow speed fleeting. So let's go back to this. Slow speed fleeting. Ally starts a free attack. 4-mana 4/3. It's fleeting, so you do have to do it there. But an ally starts a free attack. That seems pretty useful. You could use that with a lot of different things. Of course, useful for maybe a bit slow for power aggro. Could you maybe like tweak power aggro? I'm thinking of like Misfortune, of course, and things like that. But LeBlanc as well is another good one. Obviously, Jarvan. I'm not sure. Could you play Noxus Demacia with Jarvan? Is it possible that could be like a thing that you try? Because of course, Jarvan benefits from the free attacks because once he's leveled up, he'll challenge them and get the barrier, and that's all great. It seems like this is a decent card, right? It's obviously a decent card because they seem to love this free attack. It's like they discovered what if we like had an attack, but it wasn't really a rally, but it was like, gave you an extra attack. It's like as soon as they discovered that, it was like, it's like their drug of choice. Like, let's just give every region free attacks. It's perfect. It's like they just love it. Which is fine, because it is quite an interesting mechanic, I think, and the way, I've just mentioned a bunch of different things that you can use it with, and, it opens up a bunch, there's probably a ton more that you can use it with as well. So I'm convinced that card, a 4-mana 4/3 that does this, is a decent card. It has maybe a couple problems in that it's a 4-mana card that you maybe don't want to, play on turn 4. You might be better off using it later on in the game when you have bigger units, that can start free attacks. Of course, Battering Ram, one of my favorite cards. This would be pretty good with. Maybe I'll have to try that. And there's a bunch of things. Legion Marauders are within Noxus as well, of course, that could benefit from this, I suppose. And yeah, there's a bunch of different things that you can use them on. And so it's definitely a decent card. I just don't know where the best place to put it is yet. And I'm sure, you guys will have plenty of ideas yourself, but let's keep going. Bit of artwork for you there. Okay. Is that Draven? Oh, is that it? Is that it? What's this Draven? I'm expecting another card. Looks like Draven. With his mustache. So does Draven get ruined? I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? You'd imagine Draven just probably doesn't even care. Okay. So does this mean we're getting a Noxus champion? I don't know. Could do. Could do. Is there a Nox? I mean, some of you guys will know. I don't, because I don't play League. But is there a Noxus champion that is like, you know, one of these Minotaur things? That would make sense, I guess. You know, or who hangs around with those kind of things. But if that's all the cards we've got, I mean, I will check on other things. But if that is all the cards we've got 2 cards really to talk about today. I'll just quickly check it is the only cards that we've got, but then we'll do a quick review. Okay, so it turns out, yes, these are our cards for today. So let's do a quick review of them. So Retired Reckoner, as I mentioned, the 2 attack just feels too low. Where I just can't see it unless there's like, you know, a bunch of free spells, like unless they. And maybe one day they will, right? It's very possible that they might one day do this, but imagine if there was like gems but free, you know, that maybe did something different. Then maybe this makes sense, right? If you could create something that's like spinning axes or like 0 mana that like, you know, do something pretty useful. To be honest, if you could just create things that say 0 mana, you know, play this on a unit and it literally does nothing, that would be quite interesting. That would be like a really interesting design. I don't know what champion that would come with. But if they did do something like that, where you just literally create a bunch of free nothing spells, then this maybe makes sense. Because then you can just increase this attack, you know, quite a lot. And that would almost be like, it would sound like a meme, but it would actually be like quite complex design. To create spells that were 0 mana that literally did nothing, but of course, like things like Lee Sin, of course, benefit from spells, and there's plenty of different synergies with things like that. And if they targeted units as well, that would be, you know, really quite an interesting design. So, but unless something like that comes along, I just don't see Retired Reckoner being much of a force. So I'd give this like a 3.5 out of 10. I guess. Ruined Reckoner is much more interesting, and as I say, it's definitely a good card. The fact that the Midnight Raid is fleeting, you know, is a downside, but it is free. And it has a fine stat line. You know, it's not a good stat line, but it's a fine 4 mana 4/3. You know, you're not gonna complain too much of that stat line. It's fine. So it's just figuring out, you know, where exactly you can play this. You know, where is it best suited? It could be one of those cards that like just doesn't have a home. I mean, maybe we'll get a Noxus champion and then it will have a home. That's very true as well. You know, it very easily could just be the case that that's what happens. But I am wondering, like, it's like a 7 out of 10, I think. Like a pretty decent card that, if in the right deck, becomes like quite a really good card. But you know, you're not gonna like slap it in every deck. You obviously have to have quite a bit of synergy with it to make it work, but there's plenty of decent options, I would say. Overall, there's probably plenty of decent options out there for it. So yeah, a pretty solid card, but that's all we've got today. You know, enjoy the Draven artwork as well. It does look quite cool. So yeah, I'm just glad that it's ongoing, and I'm glad that, like, you know, we got Noxus cards now. You know, maybe this means that every region is about to get a couple cards. You know, that would be quite cool if that is the case. But until then, and until that point, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow with more videos. So have a nice day.